Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and casting it. Welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the views, the likes, the comments on my last video. I really did not expect to get that much positive feedback, and I do appreciate it. So thank you. My plan is to keep the videos coming, make at least one video each week, as long as I have time for it. So look forward to more build ideas, to more meme ideas too, and this is what this video is gonna be about. I came up with a little meme build, which is a project of heart for me, I would say. I wanted to see if I can crit, or I wanted to see how high I can actually crit, if I can crit for 100k at level 60. I'm not gonna do a real build guide for this, but I want to show off at least my approach and what my idea was to achieve this goal, and then we will see whether or not I can actually make it. So what I wanted to use is Astral Storm. Why Astral Storm, you might ask? The point behind this spell is so it transforms your Thunderstorm into Astral Storm, and this spell has ridiculous base damage and ridiculous spell scaling. It's beyond any other spell in the game, I think. At least I don't know of any other spell that has this much potential in terms of damage. And it also scales with all modifiers to Thunderstorm. Now there are not too much modifiers to Thunderstorm, but there are some big ones. And we are talking about Cloudburst. Cloudburst adds 100% increased damage to Thunderstorm. It also, and that's the bad thing about it, adds a 2-second cast time on top of the 2-second base cast time of Astral Storm. So you can see here in the tooltip we are close to 4 seconds cast. But that doesn't matter, we're not talking about DPS here. We just want to know how hard we can crit with this. And all the rest of the build is basically focused around amplifying the damage of Astral Storm. As of talents, I just used whatever gives me damage. I use Concussion, which is the only talent that directly increases Thunderstorm damage. I use a bunch of lightning stuff here. The reason for that is the Shamanism talent. The Shamanism talent reduces the cooldown of Thunderstorm. So at least in a raid I can pull off the Astral Storm more often, because otherwise it would be on a 30-second cooldown, and without Shamanism you don't get to do Astral Storm very often. So that's the reason why I use all this lightning stuff, and I use the lightning spells as a filler. The rest of my talents is basically just damage, like Demonic Knowledge, Mind Mastery, all the spell power stuff. But the really interesting thing here, and something that feels a bit like an abuse, is improved Insect Swarm. You see, Astral Storm does spell storm damage. That means it's a mixture of arcane and nature damage. And usually the way it behaves is that it would take the highest modifier to either arcane or nature damage, not both, and take this modifier. That means talent like Earth Immune, which increases arcane and nature damage, won't double dip. So you won't get 12% damage, but only 6% damage of a talent like this. However, I tested it and noticed that Improved Insect Swarm behaves differently here. Improved Insect Swarm increases nature damage taken by targets affected by Insect Swarm, but also arcane damage taken by targets affected by Moonfire. And this in fact double dips. So it increases the damage twice. That's why I use both Insect Swarm and Moonfire in my build in order to improve the damage of Astral Storm. And this results in some ridiculous crits, you can be sure. I also of course use the improved Insect Swarm REs, which is just the same thing, so we can do even more double dipping. Other than that, in terms of REs, I'm just using Concussion for 2% damage, and I use Hasty Thunderstorm just to have it up a little bit more often. I could do more damage REs here instead of the reduced cooldown to have just one big crit, but I actually want the build to somehow function beyond the Astral Storm, or to have it up more often for a little bit more DPS. So yeah, I guess there's a little bit more potential here for higher crits, but I'm hoping it's enough anyways. Well, we will see. One more thing that is really important that I found out is this, it's Water Geyser. Water Geyser is a world forged enchant. I can't actually remember where I got this one, but it basically does, what it does is that your earthquake will increase the frost and nature damage taken of the target by 10%, stacking up to 5 times, so it's 50% in the end. And another 50% increase on top of what we already have is just nuts. Now this only counts for a single spell, that means it will be consumed on any spell that hits. But that's fine for us, because we only want to hit once and we want to hit hard. In terms of actual skills, there's really nothing special about the build. As I already said, it's basically a lightning bolt, chain lightning build. I use Moonfire and Insect Swarm together. And the rest of it is just basically a bunch of buffs, a bunch of cooldowns in order to up the damage. Important here is the Arcane Orb, which adds another 10% increased arcane damage taken. And the Earthquake, of course, for the Water Geyser. And something that might be a little bit special in this build that I have noticed pretty late that it works is Hunger for Blood. I noticed you can use Hunger for Blood even though you don't have a bleed applied to a target yourself. It is okay if it's a bleed from somebody else, but it will then always only last for 5 seconds. Now in a normal build I would say this is not worth it. Having a 30-second cooldown for 5 seconds uptime is not really good. But here it works because we only want to get this one cast, this one big Astral Storm off, and we can do this in this 5-second window. And then that's another 10% nature damage to my Astral Storm, which is insane. So the question is now, will it work? I think it does pretty good damage, I don't know yet. I wanna head to the dummy, do like a dry test on it, see where we are at. And yeah, let's see if the dream can come true. So here we are at the dummy. I thought of a rotation or an opener, I would say, to get the most damage out of my Astral Storm. I will show that off here quickly, but I don't think it's too important. We have to start with 3 lightning bolts first before we can do the actual wombo combo. Because of Unrelenting Storm, we want to stack that up first. So let's go. 3 lightning bolts, the chain lightning, and then the earthquake into an arcane orb, Moonfire, Insect Swarm, pop arcane power, and then cast Astral Storm and watch it. Oh, that was a non-crit. And Astral Storm. And please. Please crit. It did crit. 86k. The number didn't pop up. How unsatisfying is that? Oh my god, but the number looks good. The number looks good. So I did a bunch of testing on the dummy. Here you can see I crit for 85k with Astral Storm. This is about as high as I can go. I did like 86k at the highest, I think. And I think this is a pretty good starting point. You have to keep in mind, I can't do the full setup on the dummy. I can't use Hunger for Blood because I don't have a bleed myself. And I also don't have space to fit Curse of Elements into my build, so I guess that would add another layer of damage on top of all the raid buffs and stuff. Because this project is not critting the dummy for 100k, I want to crit for 100k in an actual raid. So I think this is a good baseline, and we will see if we can get the 100k dream in raid actually. I noticed one problem though, and it bugs me a lot. It's about the damage number. The damage number just keeps disappearing. You can't see the actual crit. So I don't know, maybe I can still get a few good clips out of raids. I will try for sure. And I will probably do a little compilation of me playing the build in actual raids. So yeah, stay tuned for that. upgrading. Oh, Moonfire. Insektswurm. Und